storm is brewing, but not in the parliament, not on the streets, in the courtroom. After the Supreme Court granted interim relief in a petition challenging the Waqf Act amendments, the BJP ecosystem is up in arms. But their fight isn't just with the ruling, their fight is with the very concept that keeps our democracy intact: judicial review. In simple terms, judicial review is the power of the courts, especially the Supreme Court, to test any law against the Constitution. If the law fails the test, it gets struck down. Not because of politics, not because of pressure, but because no law is about the Constitution. Not even one passed unanimously in Parliament. This power isn't a favor, it's a constitutional duty under Articles 13, 32, 131, 136, and 226. The courts are not passive observers, they are the guardians of the Constitution, and judicial review is their sword and our shield. Cut to today. A new challenge is brought before the Supreme Court, this time against the recent Waqf Act amendments. Petitioners argue that these amendments into the Waqf Act potentially enables disputes and religious biases, infringing the secular nature of the state. The court grants an interim relief, a basic procedural safeguard. It does not declare the law void. It does not overturn parliament. It simply says, let's examine this more closely before any irreversible steps are taken. But that's enough for the BJP ecosystem to erupt. BJP spokesperson Shivam Tyagi goes public. His claim is that one community gets dismissed while the other gets relief. Why is this double standards? He asked the Supreme Court. The accusation that the court favors some communities over others based on not on law but identity. Let's pause here. This is not just rhetoric, this is an attempt to paint the Supreme Court as biased, to delegitimize judicial review itself. It's a dangerous precedent because once the judiciary becomes fair game for political blame, what stands between power and impunity? The BJP ecosystem anger isn't new. Every time a court holds the government accountable, a part of the ruling class cries foul. But here's the truth: India's courts have been striking down overreaching laws long before the BJP even came to power. Now let's talk about some historic cases where the Supreme Court has struck down Parliament's decisions. In the Kesavananda Bharati was a state of Kerala, a very famous case, the case that saved the constitution. Parliament tried to give itself absolute power to amend the constitution. The Supreme Court drew the line and introduced the basic structure doctrine, a doctrine that says you can change the constitution but not its soul. The next case is the Minerva Mills case in 1980. The court struck down amendments that tried to crush the judicial review itself. The message: no institution is supreme, only the constitution is. The next is a very recent one. It's the Shayara Bano versus Union of India, the triple talaq case, which was struck down. The triple talaq was struck down because it was unconstitutional and arbitrary. The court acted on fundamental rights and not religious politics. The court also struck down Section 66A of the IT Act for criminalizing free speech online. The government said it was to protect law and order, but the court said it was too vague, too broad, and too dangerous. The NJAC Act 2015, the National Judicial Appointments Commission, aimed at changing how judges were appointed, was struck down for compromising judicial independence. So these are a few cases where the courts have come down heavily on laws to save the constitution. So here's a pattern: laws passed by elected governments struck down by unelected judges. Why? Because India is not a majoritarian republic, it's a constitutional one. That's the essence of judicial review. It's not an affront to democracy, it's what keeps democracy honest. But now the BJP ecosystem is going a step further. Not only they are questioning the judicial decisions, they are questioning the institution itself. implying communal bias, painting procedure as prejudice. This isn't just frustration, but this is a calculated strategy to weaken the public trust in the courts, to tell citizens if the courts doesn't agree with us, it's corrupt bias, and they may go on to call it anti-nationals too. The implications are dangerous, but once the message takes hold, who will the citizen turn to when the state breaks the law? The BJP ecosystem doesn't have to agree with every Supreme Court order. That's their right. But questioning the court's integrity, its intent, its neutrality, that crosses the line. Judicial review is not an optional feature of our democracy, it's the firewall of our democracy. It stops parliament from becoming a dictatorship, it stops politics from rewriting our rights. So the next time a court pauses a law, ask what it's protecting. The answer might be you. That's the verdict, and you're watching newstap1.com. I am Sai Rambi. Thank you.